Hi everyone, welcome back to Coffee, Books, and Rain, where I'm actually finishing up my cup of coffee. I did a silly thing. So I love this cup. It is a representative of my Books Are Magical podcast, which I plan to reinvigorate, perhaps is a fun word to use. Plan to revive in January. So hopefully, even though right now I do not have any co-hosts, I am looking to try to find and recruit and maybe coerce some of my friends into participating in a couple of episodes with me. However, I put my coffee into that cup on a day that is very cold. Now, this cup is metal, and you would think, well, okay, in my brain I was like, oh, it'll keep my coffee hot. However, the cold on the outside has now made my coffee colder faster, and I am slightly disappointed. So either I need to drink it faster, or I needed to have used a different mug on a day like today. It was quite chilly. I will say we are about halfway through December already. I cannot believe that we've made it this far. I will say also that it seems as though my Wind and Truth episode has probably had the most views I've ever had on an episode, which was very startling. I don't think it went viral in any way of the words, but just very startling. And so hopefully, now I did take some feedback from a couple people that now a couple people said I spoiled it. However, it was only a very small excerpt, so I don't think I spoiled it too much. And a couple people just recommended that I include excerpt into my title, which I did go back and edit. So because even though I put it into the description, I didn't put it into the title, and it is not a full book review. I think if I do, probably will go back and do a full review of the book. That's probably going to be something that I'm going to have to break out on like a whiteboard or something, because that book is gonna be chunky, and it may take me like an hour to do a full, like, pretty comprehensive book review and do it justice. But I was just really proud that that episode did so well, and so kind of happy about that. But diving into our next book, now this is a very short book. It is actually a novella, if not a short story, by T.J. Klune. If you don't know who T.J. Klune is, then you have been sleeping under a rock. And that is definitely just me teasing in a very lighthearted sort of way. T.J. Klune wrote Beyond the Cerulean Sea. He wrote in the Lives of Puppets, as well as most recently Somewhere Beyond the Sea, which is a sequel to Beyond the Cerulean Sea. And I think I just said that all wrong. But he wrote those amazing books, and I happened to run across this little book. And again, it is very short, and I may do this episode in conjunction with a secondary book, and I think I will, just to give it a little bit more meat. This one is called Reduce, Reuse, Recycle, and I found it as I was just scrolling through my Audible account. I did not get this one from NetGalley. I think it might have been free because I'm a member in Audible. So I want to say it was only about an hour, if that, and let's just dive into it. It's very short. An android who knows nothing besides his work in a factory is given one final week to explore the world before he is forced to undergo mandatory reprogramming. In this bittersweet precursor to T.J. Klune's In the Lives of Puppets, now available in trade paperback. So, I picked it up because I do enjoy T.J. Klune's work. Most of his works are very touching in so many great ways, and I did love In the Lives of Puppets. Now, I think if I reach over here, we picked it up on thrift books. So I got In the Lives of Puppets not too long ago from thrift books. I want to say it was probably less than $10. But if you've never read it, it's very cute. And it does invite you to kind of meet this little family that it says, in a strange little home built into the branches of a grove of trees lives three robots: fatherly inventor android Giovanni Lawson, a pleasantly sadistic nurse machine, and a small vacuum desperate for love and attention. Victor Lawson, a human, lives there too. Now, I'm not reading the whole thing, but let's just dive into reduce, reuse, recycle. Because I guess I knew that it had to have some sort of, I guess, relevance to In the Lives of Puppets, but I didn't know it might be a little bit of a precursor or sneak peek into the world prior to the fall of humanity that we see in the life of puppets. So what happens is we kind of go into this factory, and I don't think we really fully explore what kind of factory it is, but the supervisor has pulled this particular robot slash android aside, and his name is Douglas, and says, okay, Douglas, you've been here 9 years and 51 weeks, and so now it is your week. And so that means he has 1 week to live out kind of in humanity. He gets a pass. He gets to live among people for this 1 week. They have an apartment set aside and everything for him to go out there and kind of experience, I guess, humanity outside of the factory. And so Douglas is like, oh, okay, I guess so. And so he acknowledges that this is a thing that's going to happen. And the supervisor said, okay, there's a couple rules. Just, you know what they are. Just don't break them. He's like, yep, okay. And so Douglas goes out and he goes to the apartment and he reads all the books that there are in like the first day. He reads like all of them, and I don't remember how many there were, but there seems to be a lot. And he finds a book that's, I think it's like Descartes. Descartes. And I could be saying that completely wrong, but it's the writer who pretty much says, I think, therefore I am. Well, that really sinks in with Douglas, who, again, is this sort of AI-like or possibly adjacent robot. And as he spends this week out in humanity, by about day 3 or 4, he is seeking some form of connection. He is seeking somebody to connect with. And it's funny because Douglas, from his perspective, it comes in the form of a woman made of feathers. And I just describe it that way because I believe when I was listening to it, that's how he describes it as well. And this seems to be a club, possibly like an alternative lifestyle club is what it seems to be. But he goes to this club. They ask him, like, do you know what this club is? And he's like, yeah, I think so. And he's like, well, I'm looking for a connection. And he's like, pretty much like, aren't we all? And so they go ahead and let him in. And at first, these couple of humans kind of make fun of him, but then a couple other humans kind of bring him under their wing in order to, I don't know, just kind of talk to him, kind of bond with him. And that's where his connection with people really starts to find footing. And it's really, really well done. I don't want to give the spoiler, the ending away, but let's just say it's pretty moving. And so I will highly recommend it. It's TJ Klune, and it's called Reduce, Reuse, Recycle. It is from Macmillan Audio. It's only about an hour long, I think, at the most, and I really enjoyed it. There is something about TJ Klune that anytime I run across his stuff, I always want to read it. But the next book I am going to recommend, and again, it's also kind of a novella. It's a smaller book. It's called Constituent Service, and I'm trying to pull it up so I can give you the details like I enjoy doing. Constituent Service by John Scalzi. There are some authors that I absolutely adore, and John Scalzi is one of them. TJ Klune is one of them. Brandon Sanderson, T. Kingfisher, and I can probably find a couple of others as well. And I'm very excited to say most of those authors either have books coming out now or are on my coming out next year list. And I'm so very excited because when I do my year-end recap, I have my top 10 books of this year because it was hard to keep it to just 5. I really wanted to keep it to 5, but I didn't. And then I have my top, I think the books I'm anticipating for next year, which I have mostly already in my NetGalley. Now I know I'm probably missing some, but I think I only put 6 or 7 on my anticipated reading list because I know there are going to be some that will release that I haven't yet probably either gotten or heard yet. So let's talk about John Scalzi's Constituent Service, a 3rd District story. Now again, this is one that I got on Audible. I do believe it was an Audible original, so I think I got it for free for being a member of Audible. It was only about 2.5 hours long, and I had such a fun time. I love the fact that John Scalzi really leans into I guess diversity when it comes to just alien races and humans living together and all of the havoc and mayhem that can happen. I've seen it in a couple of his books, and it's just, he's so good at it. It's always so funny and fun. It does talk in a little bit about some of the I guess the social human faux pas that we already do right now just against ourselves and against each other, much less what would happen if there were alien races that were living on this planet sharing space with us, and how would we interact with them and start learning the social norms when it comes to interacting with them on a daily basis as well. So in Constituent Service, Ashley Perrin is fresh out of college and starting a job as a community liaison specialist for the 3rd District, the city's only sector with more alien residents than humans. Ashley, being human, she's barely found where the paper clips are when she's beset with constituent complaints. From too much noise at the annual Lupedian celebration, to a trip and fall chicken, to a very peculiar type of alien hornet that threatens the very city itself. And if that's not terrifying enough, Ashley's up next at the office karaoke night. So it does say it's Parks and Recs meets the Federation of Planets in this fast and funny audio exclusive by Hugo Award winner and Audible bestseller John Scalzi. So I do have a John Scalzi book that I think I already have it in my NetGalley to be read queue. And what's it called? It is called When the Moon Hits Your Eye. And the last book I read by him was Starter Villain. Loved it. It's got a cat on the cover, and the little cat's in a suit, so I just can't wait to dive into the When the Moon Hits Your Eye. So ready for it. But Constituent Service. We are helping Ashley along the way. Actually, we the reader, we're just watching as she enters into, she's already interviewed, she's walking in on her first day of job. The last human who had her job only lasted 3 days, and it's because he apparently was stealing office supplies, and he had spoken in a very belittling tone to a very, I guess, upper crust lady who maybe he shouldn't have talked down to in some sort of way. So he had been kind of belittling to someone and hadn't been very compassionate in his job as a community liaison person. So he was not doing well when it came to constituent complaints. Well, Ashley is going to do her best. She feels as though she is prepared for this job and she's going to last more than 3 days. So, one of the first people who comes in is this, it's a store owner, and I do believe it's an alien race store owner, and they own what I would call a spicy love shop, is what it seems to be. And she wants to complain about this upcoming Lupidian celebration, which is usually very loud, very raucous, lots of stomping, lots of chaos. I guess windows can break and the sound decibels are off the charts, but that's just what the celebration does. And so Ashley's like, well, sadly their paperwork's all in order, but I'll talk to some people, we'll see what we can do. And that's like kind of the best thing she can kind of come up with at the time, because she doesn't really know how to handle this since it's, again, her first day on the job. Also, the other alien races all want to touch her hair. They seem to not understand kind of how human hair works, and so they all kind of want to touch her hair. They're like, oh, by the way, can I touch your hair? And she's like, no, thank you. So she handles it very tactfully. Well, then along comes this lady who wants to complain or wants to pretty much sue the 3rd District because her chicken has been hit by a bus. Well, apparently this has happened in like 7 other districts, and it's getting to be very questionable how this chicken keeps getting hit. Now, this chicken's still alive, and I think its name is like Clucksworth or something like that. But it seems like a very resilient sort of chicken if it keeps getting hit by a bus. So Ashley she's like, okay, well, we can see what we can do. But this lady she's adamant. She's like, I think I need a sue. I think I think $1.5 million will do it. I think that's what I deserve because they keep running over my chicken. And of course, more information later comes out as to why and how this chicken keeps getting run over. We also then discover some illegal animal trading, which is, I think it's called a moondog, and it is like the cross between let's just say a very large tarantula and a dog. And I'm creeped out just in general by thinking about that. But Ashley also creeped out. She pets it and finds that it's very soft like a chinchilla. And they seem to be pretty tame, as though humans are not like on its list of preferred food, which is a good thing. So Ashley's not super creeped out until they discover a couple other things and they're like, oh no, things are about to go downhill. So overall, super, super funny little story. Again, it's about 2.5 hours long. It's on Audible. You may be able to find it for free. I'm not 100% certain, but it is John Scalzi. It is called Constituent Service. I do not know if there are more in this particular vein of like this 3rd District stories, but if there are more 3rd District stories, then I will be on the lookout for them because I think I need more. I would love to know how Ashley and her team of other 3rd District community liaison individuals are going to help save the city. We do save the city this time, just by the way, but I do wonder what the next mishap may be and how quickly it may come up. Also, I need to know what Ashley's go-to song is when it comes to karaoke. I think I need to know that as well. Mine is usually Love is a Battlefield by Pat Benatar. That is one that I usually enjoy. That one, or No, that's usually my go-to. When I do draw a blank, as I am doing right now, that's the one I usually go to. Although I did do Lady Marmalade with a group of girls once, which was super fun. Had a great time with that, and had the whole crowd like